That's right. It's episode 57 of Rinkside. I'm Pawtai and that's Hume here at Rinkside. Hume, how you doing this evening?
Not bad, buddy. Not bad. Happy that the Chiefs won. So keeping that streak rolling and just dominating the division.
I watched I've watched football games before, so I'm no stranger to them, but I don't watch them that often. But today I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna make myself, nice homemade, what are they like chicken wings and
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I'm gonna get some nice brews, and I'm gonna sit down and watch the Bears play. And it was like a sick game to watch. I almost wore the jersey that I bought recently, but I didn't want to get the sauce on it. So yeah,
Yeah, normally if somebody told me what you just did about, getting excited to watch the Bears play, I'd be like, that's gonna not be a fun time for you. But they balled out today.
oh
And
yeah,
I root for any team that's playing the Raiders.
yeah, absolutely. That was sick with Agent Bajent. That's his name, the
Yeah, I
quarterback.
know the clue who that
Yeah,
guy was. I was
that was
just
sick. He holds the record for the most passing touchdowns in the NCAA for I think probably Division two, because he was like a Division two quarterback. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Yeah.
he's the only Division two player to be on a current NFL roster, which is pretty
I
sick.
mean, which that actually surprises me because there seems to, usually be a handful of those D2 guys that make it through. I guess with the transfer portal being as it is now, you're not likely to finish your career in D2 if you show flashes. They'll just transfer you to D1 school. But
Hmm. Well, that's the way it goes with the stars of the day. But let's talk about some of the plays of the week that occurred not only in this week, but some previous weeks. So let's get into it with the plays of the week. Starting us off, we've got none other than submitted by and starring Ethan Letterman with a great goal right there. Number 10 for Jacksonville. Let's see who's number 4.
it looks like we got Scott Cooper coming in with a just awesome save through traffic. A lot of bodies banging around, and he did not let that puck cross the line.
Did not let it cross the line, but you know who did was Joey Phillips as he crossed the blue line, went into bad zone and scored on
Ooh,
a 3-on-5 shorty. But let's see number 2. Pinkman's got the puck.
got it, got it. Turn for. Oh yeah.
Oh!
Oh, he got destroyed. How is
Oh!
that not a penalty? That's got to be boarding, right?
Not a penalty, but let's talk about Grace. We've got none other than Heather Gray, who comes in with this spinorama backhand shot.
Just unnecessary. I mean, if anybody knows me, they know that I will always appreciate a good deke. And just an unnecessary 360 that trickles in is just chef's kiss.
Yeah, chef's kiss, man. That was proper. And let's talk about proper stats this week. Coming in, we've got the Rocket Conference in the 8 games entered for almost every team except for Sapporo, who's got one left. But that's a huge step forward. So shout out to the stats team. And for anybody that wants to contribute to the stats team, reach out to Doug Britton. He's happy to set you up. And remember, it's a rewarding experience that can lead to some bonus points for your player at the end of the season, potentially. When it comes to the Rocket Conference, we've got none other than Alaska in first place with 12. Close behind is Tennessee with 11. Then tied with 10 apair, we've got San Diego and Manitoba. Now, when we talk about the difference in goal differential, it takes a drop from positive, where Manitoba's maintaining a 0, and then we go into the negative, starting with a -3 goal differential. Columbus with 8 points, Las Vegas with 7 points, and Honolulu with 6. Albuquerque holding it down with 6 as well, in North Bay with 6, and Sapporo with 5, although we'll put a little asterisk there. We don't know if that 8th game went well or not. But Hume, what's your opinion on things?
I mean, it's just showing, both conferences, but, talking about the Rockets specifically, through 2 weeks, that's over 10% of the season, through. So still early enough that, like, none of this really has much data to go on. I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, the teams at the bottom are definitely going to be at the bottom, or like, oh, Alaska's going to run away with the division. It's still too early for that. But I mean, you've got what? All but two teams make it. So Albuquerque's sitting there, a 6 point gap between the 1 seed and the last playoff seed, which is, reasonably tight. I think it's just showing the parity that's we were talking about last week, how the league just feels tighter than it has been, in its history. And I would say at least right now the numbers are supporting that. Like you don't even really, in the Rocket at least, there's not like one team that's got, like a goal difference of 22 already,
Yeah.
and is like undefeated, because that's happened before in seasons past. One team would just shoot out the gate, go 8-0, and it's like, okay, well, now as long as you literally don't catch a 10-game losing streak,
Yeah.
you're pretty much got a playoff spot locked in.
Yeah. That's what I would say as well. But what do you think's going down in Mr. Hockey?
Well, I do know, it shows 7 games for Turku, 8 games for Copenhagen. We played them Friday and we won, so we're sitting at 7 points, which, depending on how Glasgow's game went, no, I do not remember if they won Friday or not. We could be anywhere from fifth place to fifth or sixth, I guess, depending on Rome's games too. So not as bad as it looks for us. Not as bad as I feared, because we have not got off to the start that I thought we would. But I trust Evan to get the ship right, to get the tactics nailed down, get us playing at the level I believe we can play in. Um, Copenhagen being that far down surprises me. I mean, if you would have given me, $100 to bet on them being at the same points as Brooklyn after 2 weeks, I would have lost every penny of that. Boston, Jacksonville, sitting up there at the top. Um, Not too unexpected. They were clearly the two best teams in the conference last year. I know we're going to talk about it later, but the unfortunate circumstances Boston had to deal with, this week with player retention, it's good. It's a good thing for them that they've, shot out the gate, because it gives them a cushion while they try to replace, the couple guys they lost, figure it out.
Absolutely. Well, that's how it went down in the pros. So let's talk about the league leaders who are kicking things off. We've got none other than General Cornwall with 8 goals this season, leading the league, coming off of Tampa Bay. Heather Gray and Ray Bob Diddle, tied for 6 in second place below. Then when it comes to assists, we have Bailey Harper from San Diego with 8, Ibram Gaunt with 7, and we have points leader with Gerald Winkler, Alaska with 11 points, Bailey Harper with 10, Heather Gray, James Troll, and a name I don't see on here, but I think should be represented is the Bob. I hear it's going to be a breakout season for him in San Diego. All the pieces coming together, so be on the lookout. Bolo for Bob, BOLOBOB. It's coming onto the top 10, I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's what I like to see is, a nice mix of teams there in the top. It's not like there's 3 teams that got, 3 guys, in the top goals leaders. It's, like Alaska has a couple, looks like San Diego has a couple, Tennessee, but, there's across the league seems to be that every team at least, at this point has like a superstar. Obviously, we're looking at the top 10, so there's not going to be every team there because there's 20 teams. But I like seeing the spread between, the different teams when it comes to the leaderboards.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the next category, and that is time on ice leaders. Let me ask you, Hume, do you want me to read these off, or do you have this pulled up on your screen?
Let me
How about I'll start off with this one and you cue in when you're ready. So, time on ice leaders, we've got Devin Simser with 209.56. That's from Copenhagen, lefty. In second place, only 10 seconds behind Jordan Gillespie from Alaska Arctic Wolves. Shots on goal leader, Drew Jonesy with 27 this season. And then we have Grizzle Bear, Marco Swift, and Sponge Scrub with 26 each coming into second place. Power play goal leaders tied for first. We have Joshua Bolton IV and Oliver Price with 3 a pair. In shorthanded goal leaders, Bernard Gustafson. Oh, shit, there's a lot of them. Jake Hill, Joey
Yeah.
Phillips, Matthew Norris, Robert Cherry, Squib Squibbles, William Thompson, all with 1 each in shorthanded goals. What do you think
Yeah,
of
this
these here?
year, looking at that shorthanded, it's almost a deficit to get on the power play this
Oh,
season.
yeah.
Don't get over aggressive. You're gonna get a shorty scored on you.
Yeah, you're going to get a shorty. So what
I
about,
like to power
yeah,
play goal leaders. I noticed Bolton up there at the top. Want to give him a shout out. I
yeah,
always like seeing ex Turku players doing well.
right on. All right, what about our next category? Hume, do you want to take this one? It starts with hits.
Yeah, yeah, we got Doug Britton leading the league. He might be a grandpa, but he can lay the wood down when he needs to. We got Bobby Brownstone coming in second for Honolulu. Doc Lindros for Miami tied with Money Mills. Hammer Fowler tied for fifth at 27. Eaglefoot Jace Taylor for seventh. And Gugasburg and Santagria tied for ninth with 25 hits apiece. That's doing my math right. A little over 3 hits a game for the bottom two guys on the top 10. So physical league, you got to keep your head up when you're out there on the open ice, or you will get hit.
Will get hit. What about when you do get hit with those penalty minutes? Who's leading now?
I mean, Solberg there averaging almost 3 penalty minutes a game. So he's well acquainted with the box. Uh, got a really big hit sitting coming in at 20. Santagria 17, Lakeit with 15. Got Beastman and Cooksey sitting there in the top 5 as forwards. So, the small
Ooh.
guys could be goons too. Like, it's not just the defenders you got to watch out. I guess Solberg is the center and he's leading the league. So, just going against the stereotype of D-men being the penalty goons.
Yeah. You got you want to give us the top 3 on puck possession time leaders and plus minus?
Yeah, I got Wiseman coming in first at 13:09. Gamble 4 seconds behind him, and then Zahir coming in third at 2 seconds behind Gamble. So, a D man, top 3 puck possession time. Would not have guessed that. Usually that's a forward stat. But,
Mm.
they might have him playing every line they can for all I know. Plus minus, Squib's up there at the top, plus minus 10. That's you know, helping his team out, being a real team player, or maybe just getting lucky and just happens to be on the ice when they score. They got James Troll coming in second at 9, and then Kerry Baker for San Diego at 8. Two centers there, so pretty forward heavy on the top 3 when it comes to plus minus best.
Nice. Well, let's talk about the next most goalie oriented stats we can bring to you. We got the saves leader, Joey Duncan, coming in with 220 saves. That's just 200 short of 420 saves. The highest, yeah, I don't know if that's actually the highest, record, but certainly the highest from the 420 perspective. Then we got Bebe Deer with 194 coming in from Columbus. And when it comes to the save percentage leaders, Chibium Lassinger with a .942 and Gerard Brody with a .926. But don't want to call out, just .01 Christian Bacialupe, longtime Rinkside fan. Shout out to Bacialupe coming in with that .925. Shutout leaders is Coco Raccoon with 4 and Mike Twinscrew with 2 and a slew of other goalies with one apiece. Goals against average leaders, Chibium Lassinger with 1.17 and Christian Bacialupe 1.34. So shout out to all the goalies in the league setting big trends, big records. I hope it's an incredible season. What do you think about this, Hume?
Yeah, it's crazy to see Coco Raccoon sitting there with the most shutouts,
Yeah.
but seventh most in assists, ninth most in save percentage, and unless that chart is wrong, he's not even top 10 in goals against. So that's I mean, you want to talk about a swingy team. Glasgow's the one you got to look at. They either get shut out or let 3 in from what the numbers are saying.
Uh, I just realized that the fourth category is like how many goals that goalie let in. Is that right?
Goals against, I mean, yeah,
So
it
you
would.
don't want to be on the top of that one.
Well, I guess number one would be the least. It's one of those backward stats
Okay,
where,
okay. My bad.
yeah,
I didn't mean to throw shade on anyone.
yeah. I mean, Lassinger barely letting in over a goal a game. That's insane. Boston scares me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take a perspective on our rookies here. I'll shout out a few names for you with our goals leader, DeMarcus Watson with 3, and then we got Luis Mendoza and Matthew Taylor with 2 apair. When it comes to assists, we've got Nacho Sicario and Jamal Goodman with 2 assists, and a number of different players over here with 1 each. When it comes to points, we've got Nacho Sicario with 3, Luis Mendoza with 3, to Marcus Watson with 3, and then Jamal Goodman, Jason Kranz, and Matthew Taylor with 2 each, just 1 down from the total. Any perspective on our rookie precepts?
It's good to see that there's, quite a bit of rookies that have just come in out of the gates and contributed. I know with the league being, this many seasons in, and, if you're a rookie or, a prospect, you might look at the rosters and go, well, how the hell am I ever going to get, minutes, in the league when there's 3 guys on my team that are, 20 overall better than me. But, this just proves that you can come in as a rookie and just start producing. Like, don't think you can't.
Absolutely, that's how I feel. So, um, let's take a time to move away from who's leading the league and let's talk about what's going down in the league. We've got our transactions on the board. Honolulu Tropics receiving lefty Jim Hessen for Boston Buccaneers Carl Johansson. And then we have another Boston trade. Gladiators receive season 10 Boston first, season 10 Boston second for Zelda McCarthy, center left wing. Hume, what do you think went down with these?
Boston unfortunately had a couple players leave, so they had to scramble real quick, and fix a couple holes with their roster, which, is unfortunate for them. But I think if any team can do it, the front office of Boston the last 2 seasons has shown that, they're more than capable of picking themselves up off the mat, so to speak. As for the players themselves, Johansson, I believe we drafted him and he played for Turku. So he was a solid player for us. We didn't move on from him because we didn't like him or anything. It was just kind of one of those business decisions that we realized we could upgrade. So, uh, Zelda McCarthy, I believe that they played for me for at least 1 season when I coached Malmo. It might have been multiple, but I've been aware of their player for a while and solid player, solid locker room presence. Boston's getting a good one with McCarthy as well.
Yeah, shout out to McCarthy, who is Infi, who gave us those hot takes last season that really lit the fire in the league. So let's talk about what also went down. Oh, look at this big list. We've got Buccaneers releasing, oh wait, no, the Pod released Calvin Pickle, as well as Lord Juno. Magic released David Mule, and also Edward LaFleur Tremblay, Joe Stewart, Jordan Robinson from the Sabretooths. And the Beast had to let go of Clump. And we also had Warden, Valentine, and Decembers, as well as Ryan, Corey Schultz. So, peace. Oh shit, we're not done. We still got some more. Van Duff missed progressions from the Steamers on the Buccaneers, Shady Meeks and Cookie Crisps. And so let's talk about some good news. Okay, Buccaneers calling up Carl Johansson, and the Gladiators calling up Niles Godlander, while the Pod signs Joseph Delaney, the Magic signs Aiden Montgomery, and the Hen sign Anthony Anderson. So lots of moving pieces, Hume. How do we put this all together to our viewers today?
I mean, God, it looks like that reads like a patch list, patch notes list from a video game. But it's unfortunately, in any sim league, people get busy, realize it's not for them, et cetera, et cetera. So you're gonna have people coming and going. You know, Obviously, I'd like to see everybody stick around, but that's just not feasible. It's nice to see people, especially Johansson and Godlander, just from my personal experience with him, because I coach Godlander at Almo as well. So I like seeing anybody that I coach through the minors get their shot, in the pros. So I'm happy that he got called up for Rome. And, three new people coming in, signing with minor league teams, it's good to see that even though people left, people are coming in.
Absolutely. Even though people left, people are coming in. It's a rotating door, karma, just like the windmill in a downhill stream, always flowing, always rotating. Hume, did you have any closing thoughts for our audience today?
You know, just not really too many other than saying that it's been a good season so far. It's been close, like so many upsets. But just because a team might have been at the bottom last year doesn't mean that they can't beat a team that was at the top last year. I think Vegas is, if I remember right, on a multi-game losing streak, which is rare for them. Like, they're a good run franchise, but it's just because anybody can beat anybody. You can't just look at your schedule and go, oh, okay, well, they didn't make the playoffs last season. Chalk that up as an easy win. Oh, this game we can look over, et cetera. Like, no, you got to be on every day.
Hey, and we're here back with Onni Eskola, coming back to Rinkside. Real thrilled to have you this time with Hume as our co-host. I know you guys are team players, but why don't you, for those that don't know you, that haven't seen our previous episodes, who are you on the Turku Fins and goals as a whole, and could you explain some of the responsibilities you have?
Yeah, so my player name's Onni Eskola. My name's Evan for those that know me. I'm the owner of the Turku Fins. Also play on the wing for the team as well. And then for the league, I'm deputy commissioner and one of the main streamers for the league. Stream around 200 plus games a season. That's my biggest probably time commitment as far as the league goes, but obviously with all the behind the scenes and rule creating and the admin stuff, pretty involved in all that stuff as well.
Well, Hume, what do you think is his feelings might be about the league? What do you think about that?
I mean, I know because I'm his AGM, but I'll go ahead and let him answer that. Specifically about how it's evolved in the last season, it's a playoff expansion and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that the league's been, every season it gets a little more competitive top to bottom. Some of the teams at the top tend to, have continued sustained success, but The gap between the top and the bottom teams keeps shrinking, and I think last season with the 12-team with the 12-team playoff for the first time, we saw some really good matchups, and the fact that we expanded the playoffs and didn't see a single sweep in the first round, I think says a lot about the competitiveness of the league. And then obviously teams voted in a 16-team playoff format this season. 16 out of 20 is quite a bit, but it should make the playoff mode more continuous and have momentum be a bit more of a factor in the playoffs. And I think probably see some great matchups. And I wouldn't be surprised if we still don't see any sweeps, even in those 1v8 matchups and stuff like that.
I mean, we did see a kind of sweep in the first round.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about any reverse sweep juju, but yeah, there were no 4-0 series in the first round. We'll leave it at that, I guess.
How do you, if you were to take off your commissioner hat and talk about the Fins as a whole, like, how do you feel your team has evolved over this past season?
Yeah, I think we had a little bit more change than we would have expected last season. Like if you had asked me the day that we got eliminated from the playoffs, how our team would have changed, I think that I wouldn't expect much. But Webster retired, which was kind of unexpected. And then obviously McGinley passed. He's still on the roster, but he was an active member of our staff. So we lost, Webster and McGinley, two members of our staff in one swoop. And then, we were luckily able to bring in Aaron Hughes to replace Webster, who's been a really nice addition for us up the middle. So a bit more change than I would have expected last season, but I think that we've kind of made the most of that change and are in a pretty good spot moving forward.
Yeah, just follow up question on that. That you mentioned it, but just I talked about it last episode in my closing remarks. But I just wanted to toss it to you so the league could get it from the owner of the Fins' mouth, like just the unfortunate circumstances surrounding the Gimla, and especially the league's response and support for us as a team. About it.
Yeah, he was a really great guy. I spoke to him a lot, had a lot of late night, long conversations, about the Fins, trying to make the team better, but also about other stuff. And, he was a pretty solid person to know. So, yeah, sucks to lose him that way, and especially so young, obviously. But yeah, the support around the league has been humongous. A number of teams announced retiring the number 8 themselves before the league made the decision, which I wasn't directly involved in the decision to retire it league wide. I didn't, I guess, push for that, but it was a decision made by Krieg and the rest of the commissioners that they wanted to honor him that way. And yeah, like I said, he was a great person, and I think it's a great way to honor him. And the other thing, I don't know if it's been fully announced anywhere, but it's not a secret either. But we are naming the minor league championship trophy after him as well. And the Fins named the team MVP award after him this season. So yeah, it's a nice way to honor him for sure. And yeah, the support around the league, especially back when the announcement was first made, was pretty outstanding.
Excellent. It's great to hear that perspective from you, and great to hear the reveal of the McGinley Trophy for the minor league championship. I think that's a great way to honor him and the contributions he made. I'm curious, in the paths of life, we often go to like learning. Are you reading any books right now?
At the moment, I'm not reading anything currently, but I was actually thinking a lot over the last week, kind of going into this next week, kind of starting to read something. But yeah, it just depends on how much time I get and which book I decide to pick up. I have a pretty interesting looking book about a poker player that I like that I might read, and I've got a couple pro athlete autobiographies and stuff like that I wouldn't mind checking out sitting on my shelf. So, and a few other books as well that I might pick up in the coming weeks.
Cool. Yeah, the next question I had on the docket, I'm just going to skip because we kind of already talked about it. It was about the playoff expansion that kind of got rolled into the question about your impression of the league's evolution. So I'll just go to have you played NHL 24 yet? If so, thoughts on the game? Thoughts on the league switching to it, not switching to it.
Yeah, I haven't played it a ton yet, to be honest, but I have, been watching, um, a lot of clips and videos, and the people who got the early access to it. I've seen a lot of their opinions and stuff as well before it was released, and um, yeah, like it seems like a nice polished game. There's a few features that are new that sounds like they haven't quite worked out the kinks yet. Like that pressure thing sounds really appealing. The sustained pressure on the goalies sounds appealing, but apparently it's not working the way that people think it should yet. So we'll see if they patch that in. Yeah, aside from that, you know, as far as the league switching, it's a lot of work, and it results in a delayed off season, which for me personally, obviously the league will discuss it once we have more time to look at the game specifically. But for me personally, I think that if there's nothing really game changing that would affect us as a league, it's probably not worth the time. But it depends on once we get our hands on it a little bit more, once we have a bit more time to run some tests and stuff. Because even playing the game doesn't really tell you anything for goals because the sim works so much differently than when you play it. So it's really hard to know what'll impact the AI side of things, and if it's going to be worth our time to basically build the league again from scratch and delay the off season to get the next season going.
I know one thing I'm happy about is that they brought back something they never should have taken away in the first damn place, and that's replays after goals. So that's nice.
Yeah, yeah, that's one feature that's kind of nice to bring back. I do like that. Even in 23, they still replay like the overtime winners and stuff like that, and the streamers do have the ability to pause and show a replay if we ever need to, but um, yeah, it all depends on what else they added back in addition to that, obviously.
So, in the current state of goals, I'm curious, like, what keeps you awake at night? What problems do you face, and what are the solutions that are required?
Yeah, honestly, I think goals is in a pretty decent spot. I think just the things um, that keep, I guess, quote unquote, keep me awake at night would be, um, I guess there's a lot of pressure on it and a lot of time commitment from a lot of people. So sometimes people get either burned out or upset about certain things, and there's a lot of kind of tension at different times of the season, especially. Especially as we head into the playoffs or later in the playoff race or around the All-Star break, the off-season, stuff like that. People get really tense, and it makes things a little stressful around the league with different things. So, and the different availability. Obviously, if people are burnt out and streamers aren't available, then it adds kind of a load to the rest of the streamers to kind of pick up that load. So, yeah, we're in a pretty good spot. I'd say that that's probably the biggest thing is just making sure that people don't get too stressed over it. It is ultimately just a fictional hockey league. We're just playing a game here, not even playing a game, we're watching a game. So um yeah, it's just kind of keeping spirits high, and different times of the season it's harder than others.
Yeah, so a lot of people watching might not know that you're not only a commissioner for goals, but or a co-commissioner, front office, whatever title you have in goals. But you're a commissioner for several other leagues like PXF, PFC. It's not a sim league because we actually play it ourselves, but the RTO tour. I was just wondering if you wanted to speak a little bit on those.
Yeah, so PXF, it's a football league that runs on Madden. Currently in the off season, it's been a bit of a dragged out off season because it did overlap a little bit with the goals one, and then I got sick and whatnot. But It'll be back up and running soon. It's run on Madden 23. We also chose not to make the switch in that league as well when 24 came out, so we've stuck with 23. 6 teams, pretty good league, pretty fun watch in my opinion. PFC you mentioned briefly, it's a soccer league run on FIFA 23. Again, didn't make the switch with that one either. That one's a fun watch as well. Maybe honestly one of my more fun sim leagues to watch in my opinion. But again, that one's also in the off season, should be ramping up soon. And then the RTO Tour, we use that new, well, not really new anymore, EA Sports golf league or golf game, and we play a tour. We play every second week on Friday nights, and we keep our standings and whatnot. There's about, I think, 13 golfers listed. About 9 of them are active weekly, so or every second week, I should say. So that's a lot of fun as well. And there are definitely some fun other projects that we have that maybe aren't as big as goals, but still a lot of fun.
When does a PXF start up? I know that's a common question you might get, and I don't want to hold you in anything. No pressure here, but if you had a target you could aspire for, what would you think?
I would say, it's maybe a week from Wednesday. We usually play on Wednesday nights for PXF. So with that in mind, a lot of the behind the scenes work is done now. It's just the stuff in the game is left now. We'll probably open up our preseason progression maybe this I don't know, tonight, tomorrow, something like that. Probably tomorrow, and kind of get that going, and then kind of work throughout the week and next weekend to get the in-game stuff caught up, and then hopefully play maybe a week from this coming Wednesday, get our first games of season 4 underway.
So if somebody were new to the league and hadn't created a player yet, would it be too late to get a sign on the waiver wire?
Definitely not too late. Let me just pull up the number here. We have a decent number of openings still. There's 5, 15, about 20 openings roughly, give or take. That's probably sounds like a decent amount, but the teams are in good shape. Most of the teams are in pretty good shape for numbers, but there are still open spaces for people at certain positions if they want to join and create a player. And depending on when you join, you might get assigned before the season or claimed before the season. If you join closer to week 1, then you'd be kind of added for week 2 and so on from there. But yeah, definitely lots of time and lots of space left if people want to join.
Yeah, and if you make a middle linebacker, I'll draft you because I need one. Just to piggyback on, talking about PXF, for those that don't know, I own the Chiefs. Scola owns the Steelers. Potty's running the Bears. Sam Yeager, I think is his name in
Yeah.
goals. I just always call him Sam, but the guy from Norfolk, he's running the Niners, and drawing a blank on who the other 2 owners are. But I think all of
Krieg,
us in goals. I think every owner in PXF
yeah,
is in goals.
yeah. Krieg owns the Eagles,
Oh yeah,
and Thump runs the Packers.
yeah. So if you're on the fence, about who's in the league or whatever, it's a lot of if you play in goals and you're looking for just a fun like football league, you're gonna come in and see a lot of familiar faces around. Same with PXF too, or sorry, PFC, the soccer one.
Yeah.
And then just to piggyback on the RTO talk, is there any? I know you kind of have a partnership with Rab and Sam when it comes to how RTOs run. But are there any significant changes on the horizon, or are we looking to get any more golfers on the tour for anybody out there that might own the game?
It's as far as changes, I don't think there's anything significant coming. I think we're nearing the end of the first season. We have I think one or two more tournaments, and then a major, and then our tour championship, which will have the format kind of hashed out soon. Then we might do some little fun like off season tournament thing that we've kind of kicked around as well. And then we'll talk about scheduling when we want to start season 2, which it seems like people are enjoying it. So I'd imagine, and there's absolutely zero admin work needed for that behind the scenes, unlike these other sim leagues. So I'd imagine it could be a pretty short off season. Get back to golfing right away.
Yeah,
As far as new
that's what I
golfers,
was gonna say. Is there really is no off season in that league because
yeah,
you just
yeah, it'll be like real golf where they finish on September 1st and this new season starts September 7th or something like that.
like
In real life,
NASCAR.
yeah, same. Yeah, NASCAR. I think NASCAR's got like a month or two off, but either
It's
way,
short comparing it to like ball sports leagues, but anyways.
yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to kind of new golfers, yeah, anyone's welcome. You know, you just have to have the game. It's the EA Sports one, not the 2K one. We did have a little bit of a confusion with that at different times. So it's the EA Sports PGA golf game, and it has to be on Xbox next gen, so Series S or Series S or Series X. Yeah, and just be available to make most Friday nights or every second Friday night when we play. There is makeup games and stuff if you're not able to make it, but we don't want to be playing it 12 different times throughout the week. So if you have the game and you're interested, reach out to Rab, Trunan, or myself, and hence the RTO name, and we'll get you set up.
Right on. Well, Ani, appreciate you coming on tonight. Any closing thoughts or shout outs you'd like to make?
Not really specifically, just shout out to everybody in the league. Obviously, a lot goes into goals to make it run. A lot. Shout out to my wife sitting next to me. Yeah,
I wasn't gonna tell you. I was gonna see if you dug that hole yourself.
but yeah, ultimately, a lot goes into goals and these other sim leagues. So a huge shout out to all the people that put in the work, the owners, stat team, rosters team, the other commissioners, you guys producing content, the streamers, stuff like that. So and then obviously everybody in the league makes this possible. And I guess anyone in PXF or PFC, apologies on the long off season, but we'll be back up and running soon. And thanks for being patient with that as well.
Right on. Well, thanks for hopping on, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, agree with you completely. It's a whole new dimension, whole new game, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. So until the next one, this was Rinkside.
Go Chiefs.